Part 62. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 613. Shanxiang's Euro trademark's eyes were full of hatred when he looked at Li Yuan. The hatred of killing his brother had been accumulated in his heart for more than 10 years. In order to wait for the moment of revenge for his eldest brother, he had already experienced too much. After all, Li Yuangi was the Duke of Tang in the Sui dynasty at that time and had a prominent status. In addition, he stayed in Taiyuan, which was his hometown, and had an absolute home field advantage. Moreover, after experiencing Yang Guang's assassination, he paid special attention to the safety of himself and his family. Every time he traveled, a large number of dead soldiers followed him for protection. It was impossible for Shanxiang's to assassinate him secretly. Later, Li Yuan directly established the Tang Empire. As the king of a country, his safety was the top priority. Therefore, if Shanxiang's wanted to take revenge, he could only rely on the princes of all parties. Because of Li Mi's willfulness, almost all the heroes in Weigong village left Weigong village and looked for princes who might be able to unify the world to serve. As the most powerful princes in the world at that time, the Li Tang dynasty was favored by many people. People like Qin Kaiyan, Chen Yaojin, Su Mogong, and others all took refuge under Li Yuan and Li Shimin and became ministers of the Tang dynasty. But because Li Yuan and Shanxiang's had a brother-killing grudge, Shanxiang's would rather go to Wang Shishang, who had little potential, than go to Li Tang. But after all, Wang Shishang was not a person who could achieve great things, and he was killed by Li Yuanba not long after, so Shanxiang's had to travel thousands of miles south to Yangzhou with Wei Zheng, just to avenge his eldest brother with the help of the Dragon Kingdom. In fact, when he first came to the Dragon Kingdom, Lu already knew Shanxiang's thoughts and promised him that he would help him avenge his brother's murder. However, now the enemy that he has been dreaming about for many years is right in front of him. He has dreamed about this day countless times in his dreams, dreaming that he took the golden top Ziyang Li general to avenge his elder brother. Therefore, seeing Li Yuan lingering in front of him, Shanxiang's couldn't bear it anymore. Even if Lu Feng had promised him, he didn't want to wait any longer. After all, the current situation has changed a lot from when Lu Feng promised to help him take revenge. At that time, the Dragon Kingdom and the Tang dynasty only had a rivalry between mortal enemies and had no other connections. But now, Li Yuan's two children, Li Ziyuning and Li Yuanba, have become important figures around Lu Feng. One has become Lu Feng's general who opened the way, and the other has reserved the position of a concubine. If Li Yuanba follows Li Yuan every day in the future, how can he kill Li Yuan easily with his strength? Let's not talk about Li Yuanba, just talk about Li Ziyuning. If she blows Lu Feng's pillow on Lu Feng's bed in the future, then she may never have the chance to take revenge in the future. With the strength of the Dragon Kingdom, even the Tang dynasty could be destroyed with a single hand. From the battle between the two sides to the final defeat of the Tang dynasty's capital, it only took 2 or 3 days. With such strength, who else in the world can defeat it? Therefore, if you miss today's opportunity, you may not be able to get revenge for the rest of your life. When Li Yuan just proposed a duel, Shanxiang's heart jumped a few times. When his sneak attack was blocked by Ma Chao and controlled by the Dragon City cavalry, he already felt that he had no chance. To read the underlined version of the novel, please download the Philu Novel app. A. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 614. But he didn't Euro trademark T expect that Li Yuan would take the initiative to ask for a duel with him. How could he not be excited? However, the duel also required Lu Feng's Euro trademark's consent, and he would do it knowing that Li Yuan could not beat him. Do you agree with the situation? All Shanxiang's doubts and worries disappeared after Lu Feng nodded and agreed to their duel. It could be seen that Lu Feng still valued him, otherwise he would not agree to Li Yuan's decision in front of Li Ziyuning. Shan Xiangxin held the Ziyang tree with one hand, stared at Li Yuan closely, and said silently in his heart, "Brother, your blood feud will be avenged by my younger brother today." Then, Shan Xiangxin shouted loudly and held up the gold. Ding Ziyang rushed towards Li Yuan, while Li Yuan, holding a long sword in his hand, quietly looked at Shan Xiangxin, who was rushing towards him, with a relieved smile on his face. Just when everyone was sweating for Li Yuan, thinking that he was about to block with his sword, Li Yuan suddenly picked up the sword, threw it behind him, closed his eyes and waited for Ziyang to fall. Although Shan Xiangxin wanted to avenge his elder brother, since Li Yuan proposed a fair duel, he naturally did not want to take advantage of others' danger. He was shocked when he saw that Li Yuan did not offer any resistance, closed his eyes and waited for death. He wanted to stop the offensive, or even retract the blow, but just as he left with hatred, he swung another blow with all his strength. With the huge power and the weight of Jinding Ziyang, which weighed more than 100 kilograms, where could it so easy to take it back? Boom! Everyone couldn't help but close their eyes as they watched Shan Xiangxin's golden-topped Ziyang hit Li Yuan's head with great power, but the huge sound still reminded everyone of the outcome of this duel. There was no suspense in the duel between the two. The 10 golden-topped Ziyang tree was smashed on the head, and Li Yuan was already dead. But Shan Xiangxin stared blankly at Li Yuan, who was lying silently in a pool of blood in front of Yan Yan, with a look of shock on his face. He couldn't figure out why he didn't resist. Lu Feng on the side sighed heavily when he saw Li Yuan dying in front of him. He had already expected this outcome, and even the process was not much different from what he thought. In fact, as early as when Li Yuan proposed a duel with Shan Xiangxin, Lu Feng had already seen that he had the will to die in his heart, but he would definitely be stopped by everyone if he committed suicide. But even if he survives, he will definitely be like a zombie. In fact, ever since Li Yuan learned about Li Shiman's death, he has been in a state of confusion. Li Yuan was a monarch, and Li Shiman was a general who fought for him on the battlefield. It was not that Li Yuan could not accept the fact of Li Shiman's death. What really hit him was the reason for Li Shiman's death. It was Li Jiancheng who killed him. His own sons killed each other, which was what caused Li Yuan the most pain. However, after such a long time, Li Yuan had just gotten out of the shadow caused by Li Shiman's death, but he witnessed his younger son Li Yuanba killing his eldest son Li Jiancheng. The successive dramas of fratricide took away the last breath that supported Li Yuan's survival, so Li Yuan wanted to die. Just as Shan Xiangxin wanted to avenge his elder brother, Li Yuan directly proposed a duel to fulfill Shan Xiangxin's wish. It is a pity that Li Yuan, a generation of kings, ended his life in heartache like this. Feeler reminds you, 3 things about reading: collect, recommend, and share. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 615. Li Yuan's death can be said to be a benevolent act. It not only settled his own worries, but also fulfilled Shan Xiangxin's desire for revenge. It can be said that he died a well-deserved death. But as the former emperor of the Tang dynasty, he had stood on the highest mountain in the world and seen the most beautiful scenery. Didn't he have any nostalgia at all and just wanted to die? In fact, although Li Yuan is more sorrowful than heartbroken, it is impossible to say that he has no nostalgia for this world. Let alone other things, how can Li Yuan let go of the pair of children in front of him? Although Li Yuanba was born with supernatural powers and was unmatched by anyone in the world, his intelligence was not well developed because he was frightened as a child. Although he is now a teenager, he still talks and acts like a 4 or 5-year-old child. As for Li Ziyuning, no matter how independent she is or how virtuous she is a girl after all. He has not seen her get married yet, So how can he leave with peace of mind? Of course, there is also Li Yuanji. Although he does not have the talents of the other brothers, he is still Li Yuan's biological son after all, and Li Yuan's feelings for him are sincere. These children are still there, the boy is unmarried and the girl is unmarried. Naturally, it is impossible for Li Yuan not to worry about them, and he must be reluctant to part with them. But no matter how reluctant he was to let go, he still had to go so far, even if he was separated from his 3 children. After all, this was not his own will, but his situation did not allow him not to do so. Li Yuan knew very well that although Lu Feng now respected him as a courteous and virtuous corporal, no one could tell who was thinking what in Lu Feng's heart. At least, Li Yuan believed that if his and Lu Feng's identities were exchanged, he would have a strong murderous intention towards Lu Feng. Even if so many people are watching that he would not come now, he would not be able to tell in the future. After all, Li Yuan knew his own identity. As the founder of the Tang dynasty, millions of soldiers of the Tang dynasty were once loyal to him. In addition, such as Fang Xianling, Du Ruhui, Li Jing, and other important civil servants and generals of the Tang dynasty, if Li Yuan was still there, they would definitely stick together. Which king would allow his subordinates to have a small group that was relatively independent in everything? Therefore, if he survives for a day, Lu Feng will definitely miss him for a day. Not to mention Fang Xianling and others, it is very likely that even Li Ziyuning and Li Yuanba will be implicated. This is obviously not what Li Yuan wants to see. 2 of his sons have died. Naturally, he hopes that the remaining children will have a good home and good development, and he believes that Lu Feng will provide them with such a solution. Development opportunities. Therefore, instead of hindering the future of the children because of himself, and even being secretly killed by the Dragon Emperor in the end, it is better to be more generous and think about it on his own, which will save a lot of trouble. Of course, these were all Li Yuan's ideas after Li Jianquan's death. With Shan Xiangxin's presence, his plan could be better completed. But these Lu Feng could know something about it, but Li Ziyuning and Li Yuanba couldn't guess it at all. They saw with their own eyes that their father gave up the resistance and was killed by Shan Xiangxin with one move. Naturally, they were filled with grief and anger. To read the underlined version of the novel, please download the Philu Novel app. A. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 616. The 2 people rushed to Li Yuan's body immediately, holding Li Yuan's head and crying loudly. Shan Xiangxin, another party involved, although he was a little confused about Li Yuan giving up resistance and choosing to be killed by him, he couldn't think about that much compared to getting his revenge. He glanced at Li Yuan who was lying on the ground, then let out a long sigh, then turned around and knelt down in front of Lu Feng with a plop, and said in a trembling voice Chen Dantung was desperate after Wang Shishang's death. Thank you for taking him in. I am very grateful. However, Tong Tong has not made any achievements since he took refuge with His Majesty. Now, in order to avenge his eldest brother, he killed the surrendered General Li Yuan in front of the battle, ruining His Majesty's reputation. Thinking of this, Tong Tong felt terrified and felt that he had no face to face him. Your Majesty's trust, and I have no shame to face the people of the Dragon Kingdom. I know that I have sinned deeply. In order not to embarrass your Majesty, I have no choice but to die to apologize after. Shan Xiangxin finished speaking, he picked up the long sword that Li Yuan had just thrown down on the ground, wiped his neck with lightning speed and killed himself. Li Yuan's initiative to propose a duel to Shan Xiangxin surprised everyone, and Shan Xiangxin's act of apologizing to Lu Feng with his death after killing Li Yuan was even more shocking. And he ended his own life with Li Yuan's weapon, perhaps out of guilt and respect for Li Yuan. After all, according to the situation at the time, if Li Yuan wanted to run away, or directly seek Lu Feng's asylum, then Shan Xiangxin would be tied up and punished by Lu Feng, let alone revenge. In addition, if Li Yuan was really killed by him when he ran away in embarrassment, or if they were killed by him in a fair duel, Shan Xiangxin would not feel the slightest bit guilty and be excited about getting revenge. However, Li Yuan did not fight back, or even dodge, and just stood there and gave way. In Shan Xiangxin's view, it was a life for life, and he had to use his own life to pay for what he had committed. Of course, Li Yuan didn't think so himself, but Shan Xiangxin, as a Green Forest hero, basically didn't understand Machiavellian politics, and he was very loyal, so he naturally judged others by himself, thinking that the same was true for Li Yuan. Coupled with the fact that he surrendered to Lu Feng for more than a month, he fully felt that Lu Feng was indeed a benevolent and righteous king. And he took revenge with the help of Lu Feng's troops. Not only did he not make any contribution to Lu Feng, but because he killed Li Yuan before the battle, Lu Feng gained a reputation for massacre of prisoners and being narrow-minded. This is absolutely intolerable to Shan Xiangxin, who has always been loyal. He knows that Lu Feng is very powerful against his soldiers, so even if he does such a thing, Lu Feng may not be punished. Therefore, Shan Xiangxin felt even more sorry for Lu Feng, and even more shameless to continue to hang out in the Dragon Kingdom. But he was not in the Dragon Kingdom, and it was impossible for him to go to other princes to become Lu Feng's enemy, so he finally chose to commit suicide by committing suicide. In any case, Shan Xiangxin's approach is worthy of his nickname of Yuntian Xiao Guan Yu. Lu Feng looked at the bodies of Shan Xiangxin and Li Yuan and sighed slightly in his heart. Anyway, Shan Xiangxin did help him solve the biggest problem of how to deal with Li Yuan, and his suicide also freed him from worries about how to deal with him. Later, Lu Feng had Shan Xiangxin buried. As for Li Yuan and Li Jiancheng, they were buried next to the Li family's ancestral graves in the style of emperors. Filu reminds you, 3 things about reading: collect, recommend, and share. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 617. Li Ziyuning and Li Yuanba naturally stayed on guard for a long time. Just here in Chang'an City, Li Yuan and Shan Xiangxin were killed in a duel. Shan Xiangxin committed suicide after getting his revenge. At the same time, Li Yuanji led Feng Li and Shui Wanch's 300,000 troops to the north. Go. The reason why he went to the north was not to avoid Lu Feng, but to go to the border of Yuzhou to seek support from Qin Kayang and Chen Yaojin. When Li Jiancheng was on his personal expedition, it was Luo Cheng who was watching with tens of thousands of troops. Therefore, Li Jiancheng was afraid that if he did not have enough troops in Chang'an, Luo Cheng would take the opportunity to attack south, so he sent Qin Kayang and Chen Yaojin to resist Luo Cheng. As for Li Yuanji, he can appear here entirely because he is as cunning and astute as a rabbit. Originally, Li Yuanji and Li Jiancheng were among the Tang dynasty's 1.5 million army, but he hid in the army and kept observing the situation on the battlefield. In fact, when they just arrived in Chang'an and Guojia appeared on the city wall with Li Yuan, Li Yuanji keenly felt that Li Jiancheng might fail again. After all, he had already competed with the Dragon Kingdom twice. The first time he was defeated by Lu Feng and Li Yuanba together with Zhao Yun's 6,000 cavalry. That time became Li Yuanji's most painful defeat so far. Because of this, Li Yuanji was cautious and prepared to retreat immediately if the situation went wrong. Later, when Lu Feng led 3 armies to surround Li Jiancheng's army from the east, south and north, Li Yuanji was completely panicked. Later, when Li Yuanba roared and turned into minced meat with a hammer, Li Yuanji felt even more deeply frightened. He knew that he was the one who designed it and almost killed Li Yuanba. Li Yuanba developed a deep hatred against him and even kept threatening to kill him. As for Li Yuanba's strength, Li Yuanji had witnessed it countless times. No one except Lu Feng could stop him. In addition, his father had just shouted for Li Yuanba to stop, but Li Yuanba didn't listen at all. This also made Li Yuanji's fear of Li Yuanba suddenly increase. At the same time, he also realized that Li Jiancheng was dead, and he would be almost dead if he stayed here. If someone calls himself out on the stage because he has no backbone, then once Li Yuanba sees it, he will definitely rush over and turn himself into the next Li Jiancheng. Therefore, Li Yuanji hid himself on the edge early, and when Li Yuan and Shan Xiangxin were competing in a duel and everyone's attention was attracted, he quietly left. It happened that Li Yuanji had just left Chang'an City when he encountered an army of 300,000 people led by Feng Li and Shui Wanch. Because Guojia ambushed Su Mogong in Tsadao Mountain and defeated his 500,000 strong army until only a dozen of them fled back to Luka, Fang Xianling suggested that Li Jiancheng divide his troops into two groups and march all the way up Tsadao Mountain. Live in Guojia and take a detour all the way north to Chang'an. The commander-in-chief of the troops who held Guojia down at Nadao Mountain misjudged the enemy's situation, and Guojia had already arrived in Chang'an before they knew it, so he was killed on the spot by Li Jiancheng. The troops and horses that detoured north were led by Feng Li and Shui Wanch. To read the underlined version of the novel, please download the Philu Novel app. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 618. After the two sides met, Feng Li knew that Li Jiancheng was dead. Together, the two wanted to go to Chang'an and return to the Dragon Kingdom with the other Li Jiankens Xinru, but Li Yuanji naturally would not let them go. These 300,000 horses led by people. Li Yuanji lied that although Lu Feng would accept the surrender, Li Jianken's confidants like the two of them would not escape death. Even if they surrendered, they would be secretly killed by the Dragon Emperor soon. Under Li Yuanji's intimidation, Feng Li and Shui Wanch finally no longer hesitated and said they would obey Li Yuanji's arrangements. Under Li Yuanji's leadership, they headed north to the border of Datang and Yuzhu to seek Qin Kayang and Cheng. Biting Gold's help. Qin Kayang and Chen Yaojin were very confused when they saw Li Yuanji. During Li Yuanji's explanation, he knew that Qin Kayang was an upright person, so he poured a lot of dirty water on Longuo. So Qin Kayang and others took the initiative to find Luo Cheng and joined forces with him to prepare for the attack of the Dragon Kingdom. In the next few days, as the news of Lu Feng's attack on Chang'an came out, almost all the city guards in the Tang dynasty declared their allegiance to Lu Feng. Only Yuzhu did not report any news of surrender. Therefore, in the morning meeting one day, Lu Feng asked, now that the Dragon Kingdom has defeated the Tang dynasty, all the cities in various places have surrendered to the Dragon Kingdom. Only Yuzhu is still resisting. Who is the guard of Yuzhu? Hearing Lu Feng's question after that, Su Mogong stood up and said, Your Majesty, General Yuzhu still has a cold face and a cold gun. He left Weigong and went to Yuzhu alone because he was filial to his father. Later, when Li Jiancheng was preparing to attack Yangzhou, he was worried about it. Luo Cheng took advantage of the emptiness of Chang'an and went south to attack, so Li Jiancheng sent Qin Kayang and Chen Yaojin to defend. Now according to the news, the two of them have united together. It seems that they want to fight against our country, and Luo Cheng's marksmanship is excellent. I hope your Majesty will deal with it carefully. Lu Feng listened to Su Mogong's words and understood this, so he sent Su Huang and Zhao Yun with an army of 50,000 to Yuzhu to attack Luo Cheng. The two men were led by Zhao Yun, and Bama Yakong, and the 40,000 direct troops of the Dragon Kingdom marched slowly behind with their baggage and supplies, while Su Huang led 10,000 soldiers and horses as the vanguard and headed for Yuzhu first. Since all of Su Huang's 10,000 soldiers and horses were cavalry, and their horses were extremely fast, it didn't take long for Su Huang to reach Yuzhu. Later, Su Huang called for a formation under the city, and Chen Yaojin on the city saw that the attacking general was also using a long axe. He immediately got fighting spirit and rushed out with his own axe. Although Chen Yaojin only knows 3 axes, he is also particular about these 3 axes. It is said that they are the first 3 moves among the 36 axes of Tiangang. The Tiangang 36 axes are the most powerful moves of the generals who use axes in the battle formation. Therefore, although there are only the first 3 moves, they are still very powerful. It is absolutely difficult for ordinary generals to resist Chen Yejin's 3 axes. But it's a pity that what he met was not an ordinary general, but Su Huang, who had reached the peak level of a super general, and his research on the 36 axes of Tiangang was much more in-depth than Chen Yejin. After 2 rounds of fighting on the wrong horse, Su Huang knocked Chen Yejin's Suanhua axe away. Just when Chen Yejin was about to be struck to death by Su Huang's axe, an arrow suddenly shot out. Feeler reminds you, 3 things about reading: collect, recommend, and share. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 619. The sharp arrow blocked Su Huang's attack route. At the same time, only one person was heard shouting, "Don't hurt my 4th brother." Su Huang's axe aimed at Chen Yejin was suddenly shot. An arrow was blocked, and then he heard someone telling him not to hurt the person in front of him. He followed the sound and saw a man charging towards him on horseback holding 2 golden maces. It stands to reason that when the 2 armies are fighting in front of each other, life and death will depend on their own abilities. Few people will use arrows to stop their own generals when they are defeated and about to be killed. Firstly, not everyone's archery skills are good enough to block the opponent's weapons. Secondly, bows and arrows can easily turn into hidden arrows due to their concealment and suddenness, which is disgraceful. But Qin Kaiyang and Chen Yejin were childhood friends, and the relationship between the 2 was extraordinary. Naturally, he would not just watch Chen Yejin die in front of him. Moreover, he had consulted Wang Bodang about his archery skills, so he had a certain degree of confidence that he could block his attack without hurting the Dragon Kingdom general. As for Su Huang, although his attack was interrupted by Qin Kaiyang, he could feel that the opponent's arrow was just to save people, not to hurt himself, so he didn't have much resentment in his heart. But since the general holding the golden mace was confident that he could defeat him, how could he, Su Huang, ignore him? He abandoned Chen Yejin and struck at Qin Kaiyang with the frost snow rolling cloud axe. When Chen Yejin saw the man who defeated the god of death with 2 moves and left, he immediately breathed a sigh of relief, feeling like he was surviving a disaster. Although Chen Yejin only knows 3 axes, in his previous duels, even if he could catch his own 3 axes, or even if he could defeat himself, no one could defeat him before he could use his 3 axes. He recalled the fight between the 2 of them just now. Although he only used 2 moves, the opponent seemed to have known his moves for a long time. Not only did he avoid the first blow lightly, but he also hit him accurately with an axe. On the route of the second move. Then, he only felt a huge force coming from Fang's battle axe, and then his Suanhua axe flew out. Chen Yejin is still here recalling the fight he just had with Su Huang, while Su Huang and Qin Kaiyang are already fighting on the other side. Qin Kaiyang can be ranked 16th among the 18 heroes in the world, and his own martial arts skills are still good. In his early stage as a super general, although it was very difficult to fight Su Huang, he did not lose quickly. The 2 fought for more than 10 rounds, Su Huang kept suppressing Qin Kaiyang. In addition to his advantages in martial arts and realm, Qin Kaiyang also had no advantage in weapons. After all, the Shuangxiu Gunyun axe is a long axe, and Qin Kaiyang's maces are only half the length of an ordinary sword. It is naturally more flexible in foot combat, but it suffers greatly in horse combat. Fortunately, Chen Yejin had come to his senses at this time, got up from the ground, picked up the Suanhua axe and came over to kill him, and besieged Su Huang with Qin Kaiyang. However, Su Huang, as the top super general, is only one step away from being a peerless general. Even if Chen Yejin, who has just entered the ranks of first-class generals, is added to the mix, the situation on the scene cannot be changed. Since Su Huang became a super general, he has added Tiangang 36 axes to his career-changing skills. Although he only has the first 18 moves, it is enough to shock everyone. To read the underlined version of the novel, please download the Filu novel app. A. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 620. So after more than a dozen rounds, Su Huang turned his back to Chen Yaojin, pushed the axe handle back hard, hit Chen Yaojin's waist, and knocked him off the horse. Then Su Huang quickly stabbed Qin Kayang in the abdomen with the spear-like spike at the front of the giant axe. Qin Kayang naturally dodged sideways, but Su Huang's moves were not finished. He turned the axe handle with both hands and pointed the axe blade towards "Go up, try your best to lift up." The giant axe was extremely sharp. If it was struck hard now, even if Qin Kayang was wearing a layer of strong armor, he would definitely get a bloody gash. However, Qin Kayang was also experienced in battles. Faced with this blow, he quickly reacted and crossed his maces and pressed them down, trying to block Su Huang's blow in this way. However, although Su Huang's move was from bottom to top and did not rely on force, it seemed to be weak and without strength. But the moment the giant axe came into contact with the mace, Qin Kayang suddenly felt a huge force coming from the opponent's axe that he couldn't control at all. Immediately afterwards, Qin Kayang felt his arms numb, and then the two golden maces in his hands flew out. Without the weapon, Qin Kayang was even more unable to resist Su Huang, and Su Huang had no intention of killing Qin Kayang. He just held the frost snow rolling cloud axe in his right hand, reached forward with his left hand, and grabbed Qin Kayang's shoulder, and lifted him up. Qin Kayang is also a well-known general who has been on the battlefield for a long time, and his martial arts skills are very powerful. Before this, he had always captured others alive, and there were very few cases where he was defeated in a one-on-one fight, let alone captured alive. On the other side, Qin Kayang, who was knocked to the ground again, was captured alive. He immediately got up from the ground and wanted to rush over to rescue. However, Qin Kayang shouted to him, "You are not, why did you come here to die? Leave me alone, not yet. Go back quickly and come to rescue us." Although Chen Yaojin looks dull and doesn't use his brain very much in his actions, he is not stupid and is even a little clever. Originally, he and Qin Kayang were no match for Su Huang. If Qin Kayang was captured alive and he was the only one left, it would be impossible to beat Su Huang. In normal times, Chen Yaojin would have expected this. It's just that when he saw Qin Kayang being caught by the enemy, he was panicked, so he impulsively wanted to rush forward and fight Su Huang. But now that he heard Qin Kayang's reminder, he suddenly woke up and knew that even if he rushed forward, he would not be a match for the opponent and would be caught. Once this happened, no one would go to Luochenghan to rescue him. So he immediately handed over to Qin Kayang and turned around to retreat into the city. In fact, when he turned around to retreat, he felt very uneasy. He was not sure whether the other party would let him go to ask for help, and he kept thinking about how he should respond if the other party took action. But obviously Su Huang had no intention of stopping Chen Yaojin from moving reinforcements. After all, he and Zhao Yun were ordered to come to Yuzhu just to defeat Luo Cheng and capture Yuzhu. If Luo Cheng could be lured out and fight him outside the city, it would actually be a better choice than attacking the city. After all, siege warfare consumes a lot of troops, and if Luo Cheng comes out, he only needs to defeat him in a one-on-one challenge. And I heard that Luo Cheng's marksmanship ranks among the top 3 in the world, so it's a feast for the eyes. Filu reminds you, 3 things about reading: collect, recommend, and share. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 621. While Qin Kayang and Chen Yaojin were fighting Su Huang outside the city, Luo Cheng was discussing the ownership of troops with Li Yuanji in Yuzhu Mansion. Li Yuanji saw that the situation was not going well that day and was worried about Li Yuanba's revenge on him, so he quietly escaped while everyone was focusing on the duel between Li Yuan and Shan Xiangxin. However, he found Qin Kayang before Su Huang and others and persuaded Qin Kayang to fight with him. Luo Cheng joins forces. However, Qin Kayang came to Yuzhu with an army of 100,000 people. After joining Luo Cheng's hundreds of thousands of Yuzhu soldiers, he did not care about the ownership of the military power. Instead, he and Chen Yaojin took the initiative to assume the task of defending the city. In the eyes of Qin Kayang and Chen Yaojin, Luo Cheng is a trustworthy person. Not to mention that they once married Jin Lan and became brothers in Jialu Tower. Before that, Qin Kayang and Luo Cheng were cousins. And Mian, and also taught each other martial arts. Among them, the ownership of military power will not be a problem that restricts them, because their hearts are united, and no matter who is in charge of military power, it will not be detrimental to others. But Li Yuanji was different from Qin Kayang and Chen Yaojin. He didn't trust either Luo Cheng, Qin Kayang, or Chen Yaojin. After all, Luo Cheng had never personally admitted his loyalty to the Tang dynasty, and Qin Kayang and Chen Yaojin were also Li Shimin. Die loyal. Nowadays, the news that Li Shimin died at the hands of Li Jiancheng has become widespread, and it has almost become a generally recognized fact. I wonder if Qin Kayang and others know this, or if they will do something to themselves after knowing it. In fact, Li Yuanji didn't just distrust Luo Cheng and Qin Kayang, he actually distrusted everyone except himself. He had long been frightened to death by the Dragon Emperor and the Dragon King Li Yuanba. Especially after Fang Xianling and others surrendered to the Dragon Kingdom, everyone might betray him, so he was eager to master the military power, because only when the military power was in his own hands could he feel a sense of security. Although Qin Kayang and Chen Yaojin were loyal to Li Shimin, both Li Shimin and Li Yuanji were princes of the Tang dynasty, so for Li Shimin's sake, they would not compete with Li Yuanji for military power. But Luo Cheng would not spoil him Li Yuan. This was not only because Luo Cheng did not personally admit that he wanted to join the Tang dynasty, but also because all the soldiers in Yuzhu, as well as the 18 riders of Yanyuan, were his father Luo Yuliu. For him, Luo Yi guarded Yuzhu for decades and made great achievements in resisting the invasion of northern aliens during the Sui dynasty. Both the 18 cavalry of Yanyuan and the Yuzhu army were Luo Yi's family assets. For Luo Cheng, it is equivalent to the inheritance of the Luo family. Therefore, let alone Li Yuanji, even if Li Jiancheng or Li Yuan came to Yuzhu in person and wanted Luo Cheng to exchange military power, Luo Cheng would definitely not agree. It was precisely because he knew the importance of the Yuzhu army to Luo Cheng that Qin Kayang did not raise the issue of military power ownership with Luo Cheng. Of course, as Qin Kayang is Luo Cheng's cousin and Luo Yi's nephew, if he also wants to control the military power, Luo Cheng may not agree. At least all Yuzhu soldiers and horses except Yanyuan's 18 cavalry will be handed over to Qin Kayang. Commander, Luo Cheng will not say anything. But Qin Kayang can do it, but Li Yuanji definitely can't. Regardless of his ability to lead troops or his character, Luo Cheng has no trust in Li Yuanji. To read the ununderlined version of the novel, please download the Philu novel app. A. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 622. In Luo Cheng's view, Li Yuanji is just a narrow-minded dandy. Just when Li Yuanji and Luo Cheng were arguing over the ownership of military power in Yuzhu Mansion, Chen Yaojin quickly ran into the mansion and shouted to Luo Cheng, "It's not good, 46th brother, the second brother was killed by Long. The people from the country have captured him, you have to go and rescue him quickly." Although Luo Cheng and Qin Kayang are cousins, they became sworn brothers with different surnames in Jialiulu with Chen Yaojin, Shan Xiangxin and other Weigong heroes. According to in order of age, Wei Zheng is the eldest, Qin Kaiang is the second, Chen Yaojin is the fourth, and Luo Cheng is the youngest and ranked last. Luo Cheng was arguing with Li Yuanji when he suddenly heard Chen Yaojin's words. He was shocked and asked hurriedly, "What did you say? The second brother was arrested? Who is the other party?" Luo Cheng did not ask Qin Kaiang. In the process of being caught, he directly asked about the other party's identity, because in his opinion, there are only a handful of people in the world who can defeat Qin Kaiang. With the deaths of Yuan Chengdu, Wu Yunzhao, Yang Lin, and others, the only ones who can rank above Qin Kaiang in terms of military force are Li Yuanba, Pei Yuanxing, and himself. Therefore, if the people who captured Qin Kaiang were Li Yuanba or Pei Yuanxing, then even Luo Cheng would definitely not be able to win, and it would be better to surrender directly to the city. But if the opponent is not these two people, then maybe he still has the strength to fight, and he may be able to rescue his cousin. Chen Yaojin didn't know what Luo Cheng was thinking. When he heard his question, he said, "I don't know who that person is. I only know that he is 8 feet tall, uses a big axe, and is very strong. This move knocked my Suanhua axe away. By the way, that person can also use Tiangang San, and not only can he use the first 3 axes, he can at least use more than a dozen axes in front of him. As for the specific number of moves he can use, I don't know anymore." The more Chen Yaojin talked, the more powerful he felt. In retrospect, he even felt more powerful. Luo Cheng was a little surprised when he heard this and said, "You defeated the fourth brother with only 2 moves?" Although Chen Yaojin only knew 3 axes, but he was still quite powerful. If he could defeat him before he finished using 3 axes, he must be a powerful character. Luo Cheng also felt a fighting spirit in his heart. And Li Yuanji was there. After listening to Chen Yaojin's description, he hurriedly said, "He is 8 feet tall and wields a giant axe. This man should be Su Huang and Su Gongming among the 5 tigers of the Dragon Kingdom." Luo Cheng looked at Li Yuanji with some surprise and said, "Do you know him, Li?" Yuanji shook his head. "It's not that we know each other, but he fought as a general under Lu Feng when he was in Lucca. Many generals of our army besieged him and could not capture him. This person has the same name and surname as Su, one of the 5 great generals under Cao, Emperor Wu of Wei. Even his weapon is the same frost snow rolling cloud axe. His force is indeed very high." When Luo Cheng heard this, he also became interested and said to the 2 of them, "I didn't expect that the Dragon Emperor would have such a general. I would like to go and meet him." After that, Luo Cheng, Li Yuanji and Chen Yaojin boarded the city tower together. They looked outside the city, and saw not only Su Wang's troops but also another general, leading thousands of soldiers. The cavalry in white armor and white horses appeared next to Su Wang's army. Li Yuanji looked at the white armored cavalry and the general in the front with a silver helmet and a silver gun _Fei. Lu reminds you, 3 things to read, things collect, recommend, share.